Northwest wild. Hunting, fishing is my kind of style. I float the Wainuchi when it gets hot. I'm proud of all the things that I've got. I'm digging them moss bags up in the sand, and after work a cold beer in my hand, picking wild berries off God's land, and drinking my buddy's homemade wine. Living Northwest wild. Hunting, fishing is my kind of style. I float the Wainuchi when it gets hot. I'm proud of all the things that I've got. I'm digging them moss bags up in the sand, and after work a cold beer in my hand, picking wild berries off God's land, and drinking my buddy's homemade wine in the Northwest wild.
Hey, good evening and welcome to Fish on Northwest. Wayne England, Tommy Donlan sitting to my immediate right. Found your way back down here once again.
Absolutely.
For this 2 hours of punishment I put you through. Huh?
Not bad.
Not bad.
It's not bad.
You and Das Boot, we'll get to that later,
Yeah,
but
right.
Here we are. Hey, thanks for joining us. It is 6 p.m. It is Thursday. You have found us here at Fish on Northwest in studio for our weekly live show. Thank you so much for tuning in. I want to remind everybody that you can follow us throughout the week on our Facebook page, on our Instagram as well, and check us out over on our YouTube channel. If you have not subscribed, please go over there, hit the subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything, and you get notification on relevant, new, fresh, weekly content as we provide it for you. Along with that, I want to remind everyone that Fish on Northwest is presented by Better Homes and Gardens Pacific Commons Real Estate, located in Puyallup, Washington. And of course, our good buddies out there at Defiance Marine. Defiance Marine, manufacturers of the Allied series, and of course, the world-renowned Defiance and Arima Boats, Tommy, which we see a ton of those out on Puget Sound, by the way.
Yeah, we do.
And they got the service center and all the things going on the sales floor. Lots of gear and tackle, downrigger components, the whole ball of wax. Get out there, talk to Bo, the owner, talk to Steven, one of the main sales rep, and just check out everything that they offer at Defiance Marine. You'll be glad you did. With that, we got a lot of info to cover here tonight, mister.
Yeah, we better get going. It's stacked.
We got stacked. We have stacked the deck. We were talking, I mean, if you want to talk tuna, halibut, salmon, sockeye, bows and browns in the gamut, we're going to cover it all here tonight. We have a number of segments to get through and lots of info. Number of guests. I think we have 4 phone interviews this evening.
We do. Yeah, including some really heavy hitters.
Big time.
I mean, you want to talk halibut, you got to stay tuned. We got Todd Gertz on board. Todd's Extreme Fishing. We got Daryl Johnson on board.
Yep.
To talk tuna.
Yep.
It's going to be packed.
We got Todd Daniels on board to talk about steelhead fishing. We haven't said much about the summer on steelhead fishing as of late, but I can tell you, the beloved Cowlitz for many is been fishing pretty well. It's going to continue to fish. August is a great time to be on that river, especially if you're a drift boat guy. Todd basically runs a sled like a lot of the guides do, but the Cowlitz is fishing pretty respectively nowadays compared to what it used to be back in the 80s and 90s. Got a pretty decent amount of fish around. Todd's going to walk us through the paces on how to get it, and we'll kind of preview going into next week. Going to really break it down for the smaller opportunity drift boat pontoon guy or gal, and my coon shrimp approach, that whole thing, as we kind of build on that the next couple weeks. We have, as Tommy mentioned, we got tuna, we got halibut, we got salmon to still pursue in Puget Sound in the ocean, but we also have summer steelhead in certain locations that we can't just completely ignore, because it's one of those you have to go do it when you have opportunity. So we'll cover that. Also going to talk to Ryan Black down at Sportco.
Yes.
Ryan Black runs the pro shop, Archery Pro Shop at Sportco. He's been there for years. He is known throughout the Northwest, the greater Pacific Northwest, as a phenom. The guy can shoot a bow. And when you want to talk brass tacks on dialing in your bow and how to get it ready, we got opening out coming mid-September. If you're not preparing for that, you're behind the curve already. Going to talk to Ryan about getting your bow set up, a few tweaks. If you are in need of new cams, need a restring, need a new absorber, any sights or anything you want to add component-wise to your bow, what's the likelihood? We're still amidst this COVID situation. Manufacturers have cut back tremendously on staff simply because of COVID.
They didn't realize that because people aren't taking trips and they can't go on vacation, that they would be spending their money going to Sportco.
Yep.
And buying archery gear, buying a rifle.
Or fishing.
It's hard to find a gun right now.
It's hard to find a lot of things. Name your species of fish you want to go after. Start talking about prepping for our fall hunting opportunities. I would go as far to say, if you plan on doing a lot of waterfowl hunting this fall, you better get to the store now and start buying up your shotgun shells of your various heavy metals and things, depending on what you're going to go after. Because as we move in towards, latter part of September, start brushing the front of October, a lot of those shelves will be empty if manufacturers can't keep up with demand. And some aspects, that's what we're seeing right now. But it's not all doom and gloom. Ryan's got a lot of great advice, how to get your bow ready and be ready for opening day, what you should be doing out in the field right now as far as shooting, and just a number of things going on down there at Sportco. There's a reason we've tied in with them as now a contributing sponsor here in Fish Hunt Northwest. They're local, they have experts in the field, they got a ton of stuff down there, and if they don't have it, they can get it for you. Ryan is a phenomenal resource in the Northwest when it comes to dialing in your bow, so we're glad to have him on board. He's part of the BowTech pro team, so very astute. I'm
excited about that discussion. The other thing is that hunting is right around the corner. Archery season a month away, rifle season, muzzleloader, rifle right behind it.
Yep. Okay.
And to your point, I mean, if you don't have the shells that you need right now, the rounds you need, if you're a reloader, you better get down there and make sure that if you're reloading with H1000, one of your magnums, you better go down there and get them on right now, because they're going to run out really quick.
Oh yeah.
So
Sportco
watch now for those components.
Sportco and Outdoor Emporium, they are on board with us. We are on board with them, and we will continue to promote them because they do such a fantastic job. And that's where we go for all our stuff. You might as well join us in that venture. And if you are not local and can't access Sportco or Outdoor Emporium, get online, order your stuff. They're about to launch a new website, which is going to be phenomenal, by the way.
Right on.
And a lot of our how-to videos and stuff are also going to be integrated into that, so I'm pretty excited about that. That's going to be pretty awesome. But that being said, they will fill orders online. They have shipping and receiving dialed in the warehouse out back. It's not that you can't get in on the great deals. And as we progress forward, we're hoping as they get inventory, we are going to help them in promoting what they have going on, and you're going to want to take full advantage of some of the FHN specials, Fish Hunt Northwest specials that we roll out of Sportco and Outdoor Emporium. So very happy to have them on board. Along with that, Harbor Herring for all your herring needs. Make sure you check out what Patrick Gaffney has going on with Harbor Herring and Patrick Gaffney's guide service. Patrick's a local guy, does a fantastic job. Some of the best bait around, smaller operation, but we support small business here on Fish Hunt Northwest, and Patrick has signed on with us as well, and we want to take care of him. So if you are down at Point Defiance, get all your herring there. You are supporting Patrick out of the Point Defiance Marina, LFS Bellingham, Hungry Whale in Westport. Lots of salmon fishing going on out of Westport as of late. Lots of good opportunity to get some top quality bait out of the Hungry Whale. And of course, DG Bait Portland and Fox Island Grocer. All of that, any of that, contact him online, social media, what have you. Get a hold of Patrick, he'll take care of you. With that, Tommy, as we roll into things going on around the Pacific Northwest and beyond, including Puget Sound, we have some pretty substantial changes and things on the positive. Few closures pending in the next day or two, but in the realm of sockeye fishing to open on Lake Wenatchee. And not just to open on Lake Wenatchee, but let me run some numbers by you. Sockeye fishing to open on Lake Wenatchee, limit increases on the upper Columbia River. So the original forecast was 246,300 sockeye. They've exceeded that. It's now upgraded to 343,000, give or take 400, right? 343,000, the forecast returning, and the expectation of what will return to Lake Wenatchee is 35,000, which is well above the 23,000 needed for escapement. So again, much like Baker Lake, when it opened last week, the first 3-4 days, and it's still fishing very well. Folks are crushing the sockeye out there at Baker. Now on the east side, the upper Columbia is bumping to 4 fish in your retention. Lake Wenatchee is going to open with a 4 fish limit. There are a ton of sockeye.
Can you say those numbers one more time?
So
the original
forecast was 246,000. Okay, it got bumped to 343,000.
Wow.
Almost 100,000 more.
That's unreal.
Yeah.
So the engineer in me wants to know what was missed in that projection, in that modeling of the run. I mean, we don't have to dive into it now.
Sure.
It's one of the things that I'm always asking, like, you know, the coho run typically, doesn't matter really what coho run you're talking about, it's typically very hard to predict.
Yeah.
It has an up-down nature,
yeah.
right? Anyway, that's phenomenal. That's 100,000. That's almost a 30% plus difference in the run.
Correct.
Right there. That's a huge delta.
Which, if that was your bank account, you'd be pretty damn happy.
Yeah.
Wow. What? You're telling me my interest? What?
Yep.
Yeah. So, you know, fish forecasting is one of the toughest things WDFW and staff is tasked with doing. You mentioned coho. One of the easier projections to actually get year in and year out, only because it's a guaranteed 3-year fish, right? You can catch a 6-pound coho, you can catch an 18-pound coho. They're both 3-year fish. 18-month in river, 18-month out to the ocean and back. 3-year fish, timestamp it. It's the way it works. Chinook, we often talk about it. You get your jacks, you get your 3-year fish, your 4-year fish, your 5-year fish. Do I dare say once in a while, depending on location and exact fishery, 6-year fish. Chinook are very unpredictable in how long they truly are going to stay out in the ocean. But with coho, it is what it is.
Should be. Yep.
Pink salmon are the same, 2-year fish, right? So some of them are a little easier to project. Sockeye, how you miss that? There's just way too many factors. I believe the hardest thing for them to calculate nowadays in all these fisheries when they're predicting returns and percentage of return is ocean conditions. The ever-changing ocean conditions of which they are trying to factor in fudge factor of ocean conditions based on everything else, outbounding smolt count, survivability, did we have a flood or not, what was the actual hatch out, it's all about what's going out and what's coming back. And all those conditions weigh in. River conditions on outbound, survivability, ocean conditions, predation issues. They have to continue to bump the numbers. Avian predators, pinniped predators, it all weighs in, right? So it's a tough one to figure out. But the bottom line is, at the end of the day, if they come in and underpredict and they open up more lucrative seasons for the recreational opportunity versus way over predicting and closing down seasons, I think we'd have the former. I think you'd rather see it underprojected with an abundance of fish to go after than what we've been subjected to recently, like last winter for winter steelhead. Seasons were closed extremely early, over forecasted, under delivered. Coho previous seasons, over forecasted, under delivered. So let's take this as a glimmer of hope. The bump in the Chinook returns.
Yep.
Right on the Columbia River in the upper Chinook fisheries that will sustain all the way through September on upper stretches of the Columbia River. Fantastic. The summer Chinook opportunity and the increase in numbers in that regard. And we're just waiting to see what's going to happen for Buoy 10 this next month.
Well, just the sheer amount of coho that are out in the strait right now and offshore, off Nia Bay, La Push, Westport.
Yes. Yep.
I mean, there's way more than we would have ever anticipated.
And the amount of feed.
Yep.
Right? So we've been subjected to lack of feed for so long, and poor conditions and poor this, and yet here we are. Abundance of feed in certain areas and a wall of fish out there that really doesn't want to leave the Royal Fork because apparently it's free. The Dine and Dash is up and living again. So they're out there just gorging themselves. Nobody's kicking them out of the Royal Fork, and they're going to continue to feed until either the bait shifts, moves out, or they feel based on time, timing, they're going to start moving south. And when they do, we're going to have some big fish. Right on. They're starting to skirt in. We're picking up a few more. Matt Messing got into some nice Chinook today and on Puget Sound. So it's happening. It's getting close. We got a couple other topics to cover here in our opening segment, but guess what? We're already up against a break because you derailed my. Sorry. It's pertinent. We do have other things to cover. Before we jump out for a break, we will tell you between the 31st and the 1st of August, we have closures to Chinook fishing areas 4, 5, and 7. Yeah. Okay, so check your regs. August 1st and or July 31st. I believe it's 31st in area 4, the 1st for 5, and July 31st for 7. Check your regs. That information has been posted out there by WDFW. But we're up against the quotas. And so we've hit our impacts. We've hit our impacts in those Chinook fisheries, so those are going close. Okay, we are going to jump out for a quick break. We come back. We're going to talk with Daryl Johnson, Far Corners Express Sports Fishing Charters. We are going to cover a couple things. briefly touch into a little bit of halibut, but mostly we're going to get into tapping Daryl's nugget on the tuna front. What's going on? Where are they at? What are they eating? How to go get them? Get you all schooled up on that. So don't go anywhere. Stick with us through the break. Ask your questions here on the old text line. We'll answer as many as we can. And quick 60 seconds. We are in and out right here on Fish Out Northwest.
Defiance Marine is the one-stop shop for the Pacific Northwest angler. Whether you are looking for a small skiff to fish the Sound or rivers or a huge offshore tuna machine, Defiance Marine has it. At Defiance Marine, be sure to power your boat with a Honda outboard package. Take advantage of the reliability and 5-year top-to-prop warranty on your Honda outboards. Our service department is always here to help and serve you as the customer. Did you know Defiance Marine has boat financing experts to help get you the best term rates on your new boat purchase? If you need financing for that new boat, call us today. We guarantee the best price, best service on a repower for your current boat. Defiance Marine is a Honda Premier dealership and one of the largest on the West Coast. Defiance Marine also carries all the gear that you will need. Everything from auxiliary kicker motors to fishing tackle and bait. Defiance Marine has certified technicians that are top-notch at their job. Some of the best in the Pacific Northwest at evaluating your boat issues and problems. Stop in today or give us a call for all your needs at Defiance Marine.
Welcome back, Fish Out Northwest. Dwayne England, Tommy Donlin in studio. First guests of the evening. We got 4 of them to get through this evening, Tommy, based on you lining them up and me knocking them down. So, Daryl Johnson, first time to the show. Appreciate you taking time. Far Corners Express Sports Fishing Charters. And you were out on the water today, were you not?
Yes, we were.
Heading to the tuna grounds, or what'd you go after today, actually?
Today, actually, we had a salmon and bottom fish combo charter. And it was a beautiful day on the water. Fish were very bitey. Great day of fishing. Wish we were, 30 miles out farther killing tuna, but.
So Darrell, what, I've kind of been tracking the tuna on rip charts, looking at sea surface temperature and chlorophyll. It kind of looked like that warm water moved out a little bit. What can you say about where those fish are today?
Today the fish are deep. They're still, they're still where we left them on Sunday.
Huh.
They're just, they're tuna. When the weather gets rough for a few days and the ocean turns up, they find a food source that's a little deeper in the water column, and they'll feed on that until it's gone, and then they'll come back up looking for our boats full of anchovies. And
so what Daryl's talking about is when we get some wind, we get some weather, it rolls the water over on the surface of the ocean, and it can really mix up that surface layer to the point where that clean break where it goes from green to blue water, it's all muddled.
There's not a defined line.
There's not a defined line.
It mixes.
And it mixes up the temperature as well. And they really don't like to enter that surface, that uncertain surface layer.
Yeah.
And so, where we're fishing for tuna, it'll be 3,000 feet deep. It'll be 6,000 feet deep.
Sure.
Sometimes 7,000 feet deep.
That's a big downrigger.
And if you look at some of the dive data of these fish, if they don't like what they're seeing up top, they'll dive down. And, unfortunately, these fish, most of their life is feeding on microbaits.
Yeah.
They'll feed on they'll feed on a little greenback mackerel a lot of times, but most of the time
baby black cod.
Right.
Sometimes we find them with like 16-inch hake in them.
Oh. Yeah.
So everything from like a half-inch baby lanternfish.
Yeah.
To, like Darrell said, you'll find a greenback or a hake or something.
How deep are they when they're finding those hake?
Oh, they're deep. They're going down to the bottom. So that's what Darrell's saying. When it's mixed on top, sometimes they'll disappear, but it's not like they didn't go out.
They went deep.
60, 80 miles, right, Darrell? They just went down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's the same way 120 miles out, the commercial guys are not catching.
Oh,
yeah.
Because the fish are too deep.
The terrible weather sometimes scatters them along with the moon phase. You know, they got moon all night long because we are graced with this beautiful blue sky weather, and they can eat all night long.
Yeah.
The thing I look at with weather is like, you know, it's nice when we get that consistent 75 to 85 degree heat, and you're pretty consistent, and you don't have anything really moving in and creating all this disturbance. Then we spike those 90 plus degree days, and it creates so much hot air and turbulence. You get all that air moving, right?
Yeah.
And once the air starts moving, the wind starts moving, and then the ocean starts. You get something gets pulled in, right? So
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, the other thing that, you know, Daryl and I have fished together for many years. The other thing to remember is that if you get an offshore flow, like you get that east to west wind,
yeah,
and it basically
that hot air coming over,
hot air is coming over, and it pushes all those clouds out to sea,
right,
and basically exposes the sky, like Daryl was saying. If it's a full moon, those fish, they're walking into a buffet line at night,
all night long.
They look up and they can see bait silhouetted against the moon, and they're going to feed all night.
Yeah.
Right? And
so you got to remember, these fish have eyeballs the size of a tennis ball inside their skull.
Yeah.
Yes, they do.
Good point. Good point. So if and when you get back on the tuna grounds here, as those fish come back up, our water gets more into a line that you can, you know, look at and decipher where exactly you're going to go. Give us some tips. Give us your number one tip for running live bait for tuna.
The first thing is, don't be discouraged by the fish not being there today, because tomorrow they could pop up and be everywhere.
Yes.
It's just the way they are. We're expecting in the next couple of days for the fish to pop up, and we'll be back to normal, you know, in a few days.
Yeah.
Before this blow, it started Sunday afternoon. Sunday we had great fishing and terrible weather. It was like 6 foot white caps, but you know, it was wide open bait stops, as many fish as you wanted. We just, you know, got out of there early and
so Daryl, I gotta stop. Sorry, buddy, I gotta stop you right there. So you said something, and I'm trying to help our viewers understand what it means. Can you explain what it means to be wide open on a tuna bite? What does that mean? We got a lot of viewers that they're new to fishing, or maybe they're kokanee fishermen and trying to learn tuna. What is a wide open tuna bait?
Wide open to us experienced guys is you put a bait in the water and it takes 2 or 3 seconds for it to get bit, and this repeats over and over and over. You know, you might catch 10 fish out of the school if you've got 2 or 3 guys going. If you got 4 or 5 guys going, you might catch 50 or more. It's, you know, it's that constant. You know, we've got fish on at all times. We're getting bait in the water. We're chumming. Fish are boiling around the boat. They're not leaving us alone. They try to eat the paint off the boat. They try to chew the propellers. That's what wide open is.
That's wide open.
And that's what you want. That's the goal, right? You want to get on a bait stop and you want to load the boat, right?
And you know, this year started off great. We've had wide open fishing. We've had tuna. You know, we've seen jumpers and got wide open bait stops going off of jumpers, which is, you know, not real usual for July. We've had, you know, tuna grabbing the clone hanging off the outriggers while you're on a bait stop. Already this year.
Yeah.
And then we've had situations where we get one bite on the cedar plug that's way back there, pull back the throttles, and as the guys are reeling up the other 4 troll rods, all 4 of them get bit while they're retrieving them. It's September fishing in July.
Oh,
that's pretty
awesome.
Yeah, until this little weather thing happened, but it'll come back around here like in the next few days.
Yeah, it'll stabilize for you.
I'm positive.
Yeah. How much bait will you go through if you get on a bait stop and let's say you plug the boat? I mean, you fill the boat on a bait stop or 2 bait stops, let's say, and you're done. How much bait will you go through typically in that type of a
It depends. This time of year, you don't have to chum a lot.
Yeah.
I'm taking 2 scoops of bait right now, and we're coming back with a scoop of bait, even if we plug the boat.
Okay.
That's efficient fishing right there.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yes. But, this time of year, you don't have to chum a lot because, the fish they're a little different in July than they are in September.
Yeah.
In September, or even August, even the end of July. So from now on, you can pretty much chum as much as you want on most of these schools, and they'll stay with you. The most I take is 3 scoops. Yeah. We never run out of bait.
Gotcha.
With 3 scoops.
Early on, those fish can be scattered, Mm-hmm. So in July, we don't expect it to go wide open, really.
Yeah.
We expect that we'll hook one on the troll, and then we'll get, 4 on bait, right?
Yep,
and then we'll get back on the troll, we'll hook up on the troll again, we'll get 3 on bait, right?
And you only have to go 300 or 400 yards on the troll to get another bite.
Till you find another one.
Yeah.
So that kind of segues into my next question as I'm spinning stuff through my head here. Let's say you're relatively new to tuna fishing, going to finally start running a boat out there, trying to locate tuna, understand the concept, troll, find them, get on a stop, chum them, get some bait in the water, try to get some hookups, and you start doing that. Darrell, you're out there, let's say on a week, you're going to fish 4 or 5 days in a row, you're getting out on the tuna grounds. What happens on
7 days a week?
7 days a week. What happens on Tuesday?
Sometimes 30 days in a row.
What happens on Tuesday, and then you go back out on Wednesday, and it's kind of a repeat drill. Thursday, you get out there, a little difficult to locate them, or is it, based on your intel and what you experienced the 2 days prior, you pretty much have a game plan that's going to land you on the tuna on Thursday, or some days you just have to work a little harder to locate them first thing, and then you get on them. I'm just trying to get the new guy to understand that maybe every day isn't just a, hey, they're going to be here because they were here yesterday kind of approach.
Exactly. They have tails, and that's what we hate about them.
Because it moves them around?
Yeah, but they have super fast metabolism, which is what we love about them.
Sure.
Which most of the season, they have to come up to the surface to eat eventually.
Gotcha.
So you could be pounding the same water over and over all day long, and then all of a sudden that stomach starts grumbling, and they start coming up to the top and across the whole ocean, no matter how far you've traveled, they're starting to bite everywhere.
Gotcha.
So if you're in good water and you're marking bait on your depth sounder, and there's been fish caught there in the last couple days, don't give up on a spot just because you aren't catching, because odds are they're there. They're just down deep and they're not hungry. They're cruising around just waiting for their stomach to get hungry.
Gotcha. Yeah, good advice. Kind of give persons a little idea what they're in for if they want to start running out to the tuna grounds and give it a go. So, hey, appreciate you taking some time with us this evening. How many folks you run on your boat, by the way, before we get out of here?
6 passengers on each boat.
Okay. And where can folks go if they want to check out what you have going on and sign up and run a trip with Darrell?
watuna.com.
Gotcha. Okay. Don't be a stranger. Great to finally get you on the show. And between me and Tommy, we will definitely be in touch.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Dwayne. See you, Tommy.
All right.
Lines, brother.
Yep. Have a good night.
All right. Bye-bye.
Darrell is one hell of a fisherman, but he's also one hell of a hunter, too.
Yeah.
We'll have to get him on the show to talk about New Mexico bulls. You should see some of the elk that Darrell has put on the table.
That's fantastic.
Unreal.
We will definitely have him back. He's a great guy, well known out there in Westport. You cannot not recognize his boat, and a lot of people pay attention to what he has going on. All right, gonna jump out for a quick break. When we come back, actually going to play part 1 of our road trip last month when we were out and around Wyoming, Tommy. We made a little stop over in Montana.
Yeah.
Fished the Henry's Fork with good buddy Jared Cady of Get 'em Dry Fishing Company. He also works for Big Sky Anglers over there throughout the whole summer. He's over there guiding fly fishing trips and the small pram style drift boats. Jordan and I spent a morning and afternoon with Jared on the Henry's Fork, did some fly fishing, which we don't do a lot. Caught some dandy fish. some big fat, I tell you what, those lightweight fly rods and those big earthy fish in that current, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to get tendonitis. So, because they're bigger than kokanee. Couldn't believe it. Oh, unbelievable. So, we'll jump out for a quick break. We come back. We're going to introduce you to part 1 with Jared Cady, Jordan and myself, FHN on the water over in Big Sky Country on the Henry's Fork, fly fishing. We come back right here on Fish on Northwest.
Sportco, an outdoor emporium, is the largest local outfitter in the Northwest since 1975, providing thousands of people affordable outdoor gear. This summer, make your next outdoor adventure more affordable by shopping at our warehouse-style pricing. We are a local Scotty dealer, offering sales, service, and repair. Located in Fife and Seattle, come visit us today. The outdoors await you.
It's easier than ever to browse homes and connect with an agent on the go with Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate's mobile app. With the app, your home search is synced across all of your devices, so you can pick up your home search anytime, anywhere. Take full advantage of an enriched, mobile-optimized map search experience. Use location services to quickly find homes near you that match your search criteria. Draw your own map boundaries to find homes in a specific area, and apply layers to view school districts, neighborhoods, zip codes, and more. The app's user-friendly design makes it easier than ever to find a home you'll love. Narrow down your search results, save your search criteria, and save your favorite homes. You can browse your saved homes in a list view that puts photos and key details like price and square footage right at your fingertips. Or check out your saved homes displayed on the map.
Hey guys, coming to you with another FHN out on the water, and today special treat for us and for all of you as we progress through our day. Here with my buddy Jared Cady, whom I've known for a long time. He's over here in Montana. We're actually in Idaho, but the outfit Big Sky Anglers is in Montana. We're just across the border, the Lower Henry Fork, and we're going to spend a day fly fishing with Jared, and I am excited about this. We're talking 1,000,000 miles an hour this morning on our way here, educating me and Jordan about all the different bugs, the hatch, the life cycle, what these fish are in the river doing right now, why it's such a great time to be here based on what's going on with the bug hatch. So kind of remind us exactly what we're in for.
So we're here, it's late June on the Henry's Fork, and we're fishing pretty much strictly dry flies or dry dropper. The green drake hatch is kind of the area. This area gets such a great green drake hatch, and it's really unique in that it's a great chance to hook bigger fish on a single dry fly, spot and stop. We call it head hunting.
Okay.
We're gonna try a lot of that today.
Just watching those fish come up and actually grab bugs off the water.
Yeah. So much different bug life here in the section of the river.
Now, we pulled in this morning, and I got to tell you, man, there's already a ton of activity on the water. There's a lot of boats here. Yeah. There could be 25, 30, upwards of who knows how many drift boats going down this river today. You said it's no big deal.
Not a big deal. The fish definitely take the pressure really well.
Yeah.
They're really healthy fish, and they only get a lot of pressure only a few weeks a season. So the rest of the season, a lot of these fish have a lot of time to rest and recoup after the big
This is kind of a high pressure time right now with the timing of season, the numbers of bugs and types of bugs that are hatching, and the feeding activity of these fish, right?
Yeah.
So everybody kind of focuses in on this time frame. It's like, this is the time to be here.
Right, bugs are everywhere. I mean, we have bugs everywhere already this morning. The big mayfly spinner fall looks like this morning, which is great, starting early. So there's a lot of potential today.
And it's about 9:30 in the morning, and you know,
You said, hey, I'll swing by and pick you guys up at your room at 7:30. I'm like, we don't got to be there earlier. Like, not till the bugs start hitting the water. So, you know, contrary to popular belief, even on some of these, you know, river fisheries, man, we don't have to get out of bed at 0:30 in the morning and get on, you know, get to the ramp, be first boat down. This is not one of those Pacific Northwest fisheries at all.
Yeah, bugs and water temperature are everything.
That's everything.
I mean, all these bugs are waiting for that specific half a degree to either hatch or when the air temperature is to fall.
Gotcha.
So,
all right, we'll get this stuff tied on. We're gonna get down here and start getting some of these big trout.
I'm going slow. At times it won't work because I'm going too fast.
Fine.
Strip. We don't have to come nearly that far, but good. Strip. Bottom a little bit here, but and it's harder when we're doing it, feeding a fish or fishing to a head.
Everything came together on that one.
Yep. Strip. Jumping out. Expect him to leave eventually. Expect him to leave.
There you go.
All right, that's right. Yep.
Turn his head, right? There he is.
See when you try to lift on, he's going to take off.
Yeah.
Straight up. Nope. To the left. Hard to bring up through fast water.
Yeah, good point.
They did come back to work if you can. Keep coming. Yep, and let's straight up.
Nice fish, huh?
Ate the drake now.
Okay, let's go.
So that's that big black one I just put on.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Got a strip on it. Strip back, or reel. There you go. You gained way more by stripping. There you go.
Yeah, you do. You just pulled me to the reel. I thought, well, I'll just start reeling, but look at that.
Give it to him.
There you go. Yep. Look at weeds right there. Yeah. Ooh, yeah. Get him up above you and then drop him more, just a little bit. Now, get that head up. Nope. Didn't like that. My line's right on you. There you go. Now I get to do it again. Ooh. Oh, it's a nice fish.
Fish right down. Straight up.
Oh,
that'll work. breaknet. That's on the bigger one. Bigger one. That's why you can do that.
Yes.
Right?
On the bigger hook?
Yeah.
You can put a little pressure to them, huh? Nice.
I just want to know. That might be a hybrid. That is a hybrid.
Hybrid?
Cut bow.
Oh.
Cut bow.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can tell by just not very many spots.
Man, look at that guy. I know. It's great.
Yeah.
Fish all over the place.
Pull on them a little bit. There you go. You found the angle. Found that? Feel it?
He's right at that slot.
Yep. Yep. Keep coming. Keep it right towards my anchor. Yep. Keep coming. Keep coming. Pull on. Yep. Oops, they didn't like that. Let him go if you have to.
Strong fish.
Yeah, keep going.
They're really strong.
Straight up.
There you go.
Small fly. Straight up. Whew. Football, that one.
Yeah.
Shoulders. Yeah.
Nice fish. While we stopped here, what are we looking for, and what are you tying on?
So right now, we're kind of just looking for some fish to rise. This is kind of a general area where a lot of the bugs in a certain wind and a certain current direction get pushed into the bank. Fish will slide in out of the main river, pull in and just be feeding right on the grass. So we're just kind of waiting, watching, and see if we can find one of those bigger browns to show himself. We just had one eat, looks like a PMD right here. He ate twice. I'm trying to figure out exactly how big he is. But we're gonna run this whole bank. The bank gets a lot shallower, so we've been fishing dry dropper with a golden stone on top. Now we're gonna drop a much shorter dropper so we can tuck those flies right up in the grass. These fish, when they're eating golden stones, will slide right on the grass and wait for those clumsy stone flies to fall out of the grass, and they'll be right there waiting within an inch or two. So we're just shortening it up, that way you can tuck it right in there. With a really long dropper, you're gonna throw it in the trees and it's gonna stay there. But with a short one, you can drop it right along the bank.
Oh, there was right there. There he is again. Holy smoke.
So this is that scenario. These PMDs are coming off this flat right here.
Yep.
They're all getting funneled right into this baby, and then they line up in there. Oh, I just pulled it.
What happened?
Lost the fish. What's it pulled out?
Hey, welcome back in studio, Fish on Northwest. Yeah, fly fishing, Tommy. Done a lot of that, have you?
No, I have not. Well, I've used some shrimp flies.
Okay.
You know, for sea bass and things like that.
Right.
Not these kind of flies.
No, not on a fly rod either. It was on a spinning rig.
Yeah.
So, yeah, something we don't do all the time, and it was fun to get out. Part two is even I appreciate part two even more. Bigger fish, surface water, fish crashing and breaking the surface. It's some really good stuff. Jordan did a nice job shooting that. Had a great time. It was a hot day. Tons of boats on that little stretch of river. I think I was telling you at the break, that particular stretch on the Henry's Fork below the dam, 2,000 fish per mile is what they average, right? When they do their collection and surveying, the upper stretch above the dam, 6,000 fish per mile.
That's awesome.
Carrying capacity, those fish above are much smaller simply because of the population, but when they flush down and disperse out throughout the river, it gets pretty amazing. And that whole region over there is just all about fly fishing, and for good reason. I mean, when you're there on the water and you see the amount of bugs flying around and all the different types of bugs and the hatches going on throughout the day and the ones that fall to the water, and those fish literally, as Jared expressed in the video there, we're head hunting. We'll anchor up and we'll watch a stretch of water, and you just see those fish coming up, breaking the surface. And as we got towards evening, it was just like piranha. I mean, they were just boiling out of the water everywhere, feeding on flies.
Wow.
It's pretty crazy. We don't see that a lot over here unless you are one that pursues fly fishing over on the east side at times, or in the Yakima and other opportunities we have down the chutes, whatnot. There are definitely times to go, optimal times to be there. That week that we were there is one of the prime times that people purposefully scheduled because of all the different bugs and the hatches and the amount of feed that's fallen into the water. The fish are very active and they're feeding tremendously, and it's a great time of year to be there. We just happened to hit it right because we were traveling, Wyoming for our kokanee trip and all that, coming back through. Jared had openings because of COVID, normally completely booked at that time of year. Can't even get in. So part 2 is coming up later in the show. For right now, we're going to jump out for a quick break. We come back and get Todd Gertz, Todd's Extreme Fishing. If you follow Todd on social media, Facebook or other, you are familiar with the monstrous fish that guy constantly puts up. It doesn't matter if it's a halibut, a large-headed lingcod, or even salmon. The guy knows where to go consistently and find big, big fish. So we're going to tap into his brain. What's coming up here with this halibut opener, August 6th. Finally, believe it or not, we can say August 6th and halibut season.
Yeah.
The two should never meet, but they do this year amidst COVID in 2020, the year of who knows what.
Right.
We have halibut in August. So jump out for a quick break. We come back. Todd Gertz, Todd's Extreme Fishing, right here on Fish on Northwest.
A Northwest favorite for almost 40 years, Arima Boats are manufactured with pride right here in Bremerton, Washington. Arima Boats offers all of our boats with Honda outboard packages so that you can take full advantage of the reliability and 5-year top-to-prop warranty from your Honda outboard. With literally thousands of Arima boats on the water throughout the Pacific Northwest, Arima boats are a proven hull design that offers incredible fuel economy and all of the amenities that a serious angler is looking for. All Arima boats are built without any structural wood materials. That is why we back our boats with a lifetime warranty. All of our Arima boats are designed to maximize deck space while also providing ample seating. Contact us today at Arima Boats for all your boating needs and let us help you get out on the water.
6.
Here we go.
Hey, here we go. We are back in studio live. Dwayne Eagle and Tommy Donlan, Fish on Northwest, and we have our longtime buddy Todd Gertz on the phone. Todd's Extreme Fishing. Again, as I said before the break, if you hadn't paid any attention to what Todd posts out there on Facebook and social media venues, you're missing out because it's usually something out of the water and it's usually something big, Tommy.
Yes, it is. Well, and Todd's Extreme Fishing, like the extreme part of that name, Todd, that you have, that's really an understatement because extreme, I don't even think extreme does you enough justice. Like if it was up to you, you'd be leaving at like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. in the morning and you wouldn't be coming back until 10 or 11 at night. Right? Am I right?
Absolutely. There's, the extreme, it definitely means extreme, no doubt about it.
So, hey, we are talking halibut. August 6th for an opener, historical opening in regards to the fact that it's so late in the season. We have outfitters, guides, captains, skippers of boats, what have you, the entire fleets that are trying to decide, is this a tuna day or a halibut day? The two shall never meet, but they do in the era of COVID in 2020 in Washington State. So here we are, August 6th, coming up for the opener. But before you jump deep into the offshore and the ocean opportunity on halibut, you just finished finished up in CQ the last 2 or 3 weeks. How did that go for you, and how did the final fishery go here this last week? We still got a lot of fish out there. What's going on?
So right now there's a ton of coho out there, and they're getting to be pretty good size. Swift Shore's full of coho. You know, it's 3-4 fish on at a time type thing. The kings are a lot tougher. It's been a really slow year for kings. We're getting them, but you got to work really, really hard for the kings. But when you find them, they're real nice fish.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So one thing for sure is the longer those cohos stay out there, by the time they get to our into our coastal fisheries and we roll into our fall terminal fisheries, we should have some decent sized coho going into this fall, don't you think?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, this week I really saw the size jump this week on them. You know, we're seeing some coho in the teens already, and you know, in the first part of the season, we're hooking them and we're just pretty much swinging them in when we get them to the side of the boat. Now they're to the point where if you were to try to swing them, you'd break them off. So you got to net them all now. So they're definitely getting a lot bigger, and there's a lot of them out there.
Gotcha.
Now Todd, like I would say I've known you for a long time. Your strength and the thing that you focus on and the thing that you pride your reputation on is your ability to really put those large model halibut and lingcod in the boat. And you got a hold of a large one the other day. Can you tell us about that experience and what did you see?
I'm looking forward to this opener. You know, traditionally, if I could pick any date at all, like early July would be prime time for the very biggest fish. But what I'm seeing right now has got me really excited. You know, I've been doing bottom fish on the second half of my salmon trips every day, and the bottom fish has been really good. And I've hooked several big fish. A few days ago, we landed one that was probably 120 to 150. And
yeah.
Okay, you gotta tell me. What did you hook this fish on?
It was hooked on just a dart, a P-line dart, and we were fishing for lingcod and rockfish, and boy, he took us for a run. But we've hooked several big ones within the last couple of weeks. So there are definitely some big fish near shore.
So let's kind of reel that back in, Todd. Let's compare that to our typical halibut year, typical halibut season opener in the spring, and you're out there on the halibut grounds going after them fish. Now, here we are into August. Let's talk about any changes, if any at all, in your approach, where you're going to locate them and what you're going to put in front of them.
So first of all, if we were going to have like an early May opener versus opening on August 6th, we're going to see a lot bigger fish on this August 6th opener. I'd expect the average size to be close to double what you would see on the opener in May.
Right.
So the bigger fish tend to move in, and I wouldn't be afraid to fish shallow. I mean, less than 100 feet of water. If your goal is to go catch a giant monster, there's some big ones real close in right now. You know, if you want to go out and catch a whole bunch, you're going to have to run way offshore, which makes things a little interesting this year with Lapush and Nia Bay being closed in the towns where you can't access them. There aren't very many people that hold enough gas to get way to those way outside holes like they normally would. So I'm expecting a pressure shift where a lot of guys might run from Westport instead of a CQ, or the CQ guys might fish a little closer in than they normally would.
Yeah, and after a handful of days and you start picking those things off the grounds, do you think there'll be ample amount of fish around in that shallower, less than 100-foot water line to continue to give great opportunity, or do you think guys are going to have to hunt and peck for them a little more, and or have to start actually heading out deeper to find their fish?
I think there's plenty of fish near shore if your goal is big fish. If your goal is to go out and get the biggest possible fish, I think near shore is a great place to look. If you want to limit the boat every single day that you fish, fishing real close to the shore isn't the place to go. You're better off running out to Swiss Shore or 72 Square or the southwest corner and pick up an easy limit in those areas where there's going to be a lot of fish. The near shore gig is you fish hard for a handful of bites a day, but they're going to be bigger fish.
Yeah.
What is your recommendation, Todd, for if I could produce the most desirable big halibut bait. One bait. What would you pick?
For big halibut, I'd probably recommend shad.
Right on. How do you rig it?
I usually rig it with a dropper ball. Well, not a dropper ball, a sliding lead up above it, about 3 feet of Ganyan cord. I'm using 360 stunning Ganyan cord, which is super heavy because it never breaks. Is why I like it. And then I run a couple 12-aught big river hooks and just let them sit. Just fish them slow. If you're looking for volume of fish, I would go with like a pipe jig and maybe 2.5 feet above the pipe jig, a power grub, and maybe tip it with a herring or a salmon belly. And that's going to get you volume of fish. It'll catch big fish too, but it won't catch this same percentage of big fish. There's 2 ways to really approach it. You either approach it where you're only really fishing for big fish and you're only going to get a few strikes a day. And if I'm going to do that, I'm going to use big baits. And I'm going to try to fish them as slow as possible. The big fish don't tend to be that aggressive. That's kind of, a lot of people think of them as just eating everything. The big ones seem to be really cautious. They'll play with it a lot before they take it. Where if you want sheer volume, the pipe jig power grub combination, you can literally drop down to the bottom of some holes and have 2 on at once and just drop down and repeat the process until you get the halibut you want.
So would you say in pursuit of that big fish that the slow presentation, really slow it down and make sure you're not bouncing around covering a lot of ground, exponentially, but really just slow it down. If you're going to hunt and peck for those big ones, you really just got to get it in their face and leave it there. You give them time to locate and chew on that. Don't be afraid to go too slow.
Exactly. And the other tip I'd give anybody looking for big halibut, if you catch a halibut that's 50 pounds in an area, I guarantee you there's 100-pounders in that area. That seems to be like the gap. There's other holes that'll have just oodles and oodles of them that are 15 to 35 pounds, but you won't get a big one out of those holes unless you're extremely lucky. And then you can go to other holes where there's very few, but I can tell you that if you get a legitimate 50-pounder out of a hole on that given day, there are really big fish there. So if I know somebody's caught a big halibut out of that hole recently, those are holes that I'm going to focus on.
Yeah.
So if I know that this guy got a 50-pounder there, I know there's a 100-pounder in that neighborhood. So I'm definitely going to work those holes really hard.
Yeah.
On the other side of the equation, I want to explain to people that may not understand a pipe jig. So a pipe jig is a copper pipe, right, that you cut to say, if you're trying to achieve 3 pounds, it's going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 12 inches.
Yep.
Okay, cut pipe. And you're going to fill that sucker with lead. Okay. And then you're going to drill a hole through it, and you're going to put a stainless steel cotter pin with a beefy 600-pound swivel on that cotter pin, and then attach a 12-aught Mustad Duratin treble hook on it. That is a pipe jig. Now, Todd, is there a better way or a right way to jig the pipe jig?
So for lingcod, there's an absolute way. Okay, you want to get hard, aggressive, and pop it just as absolutely hard as you can and let it fall free going to the water. Don't follow the lead, but just slack the line if you want lingcod. Halibut are a lot different. Halibut, a lot of times you can go to a hole. Say if there's a lot of lingcod in a hole and you don't want lingcod, you've already caught your lingcod, then you can actually slow down your jig. And the halibut will bite them even without jigging it aggressively, where the lingcod usually want a super, super aggressive jig to them.
Awesome.
Interesting. Yeah, I didn't, dropping the same lure, same apparatus down, but fishing it at a different cadence or a different speed is going to trigger one predator instinctual bite versus another. I've never heard anybody actually break it down like that before when you want to compare lingcod to halibut. So that's good information, Todd. Before we jump out of here, give folks an idea of where they can contact you if they want to book some of these halibut trips you have coming up. We have a pretty awesome season, and it may extend on just all the way through into September, depending on amount of pressure, folks that are off doing other things and just can't make it to the halibut grounds. We could see a pretty wide open halibut opportunity through the entire month of August. So give us an idea how folks can contact you and book a trip.
They can find my webpage at toddsextremefishing.com, or they can give me a call at 253-208-9142.
Fantastic. Appreciate you taking time this evening. Good to catch up with you. It's been a while, and I'm glad to see you're still out there beating the heads on the monsters.
Yeah.
It's always a good thing. So, all right. Have a great Have a great evening. We'll be in touch.
Great talking to you guys. I'll see you later.
You got it. Take care.
I'd be surprised if he wasn't booked like 5 years out for halibut.
He typically is. I mean, people know his program.
He's got the program. He's got the number. I'm just going to say he's got the #1 program in the state when it comes to big halibut, big lingcod, man.
Especially, the halibut are impressive, but you want to see big, nasty dinosaurs in the 40-pound range, Todd Gertz is the guy. Yep. And if you guys haven't taken an opportunity, I am not kidding you, go to his social media pages, check out his website, check out his Todd Gertz on Facebook, Todd's Extreme Fishing, and you will. It's a mind blow. We put up some pictures tonight, mostly halibut. Check out some of the lingcod. You're going to go, I didn't know they got that big.
Yep. And Todd is consistent.
Year in, year out.
Totally consistent.
Yep. Him and his yellow wheelbarrow.
Every day. Yep. Got it.
All right, we are going to jump out for a quick break. We come back. We're going to get the other Todd on the phone. Todd Daniels, Tall Tales Guide Service, is putting in some time on the Cowlitz, and for good reason. It is actually fishing pretty doggone good. And I'm telling you, Tommy, if the Chinook fishing doesn't improve over the next few days for me out there in Puget Sound as I get back on the water, I'm going to forego a couple days on the salt, jump back into the drift boat, go do some of the old school tactics of bait divers and coon shrimp, and have some fun in the sun on the sticks, which I could definitely use a little time on the sticks. So, all right, jump out for a quick break. Don't go anywhere. 1 minute out, back in. We'll have Todd Daniels on the phone right here on Fish on Northwest.
What if there was a smarter way to search for your new home? Introducing the Better Homes and Gardens real estate website and mobile app. This revolutionary new search tool puts your needs first. Narrow your search to what matters most to your family, like school data, school districts, and even walk scores. Get easy access to your local affiliated agent, as well as unique and local insights about neighborhoods and properties directly within the app. With synced and saved preferences, you'll always pick up wherever you left off. Get your smarter search started today with Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate.
All righty, back in studio to winning on Tommy Donlin.
Oh man, I was going to say we about had a problem there.
Got a little bit of this lemon, this tart lemon LaCroix on my palate. So Todd Daniels, Tall Tales Guide Service. Had you on the phone a number of times over the year, my friend. Usually we focus in on your Skycomish summer fisheries for Chinook and Steelhead and/or down in the Cowlitz, because that's kind of your hidey hole that you go to. The Skycomish didn't treat you exactly horrible this year. Had to work for them a little bit, but you got into some fish, didn't you?
Yeah, it was pretty good up there. It started off, pretty darn good. The Skycomish is always one of those rivers I always call it. You go from 0 to 0, right? You go out and you hook, 6, 8, 10 fish one day, 6 fish next day, and next day you go 1 for 2, and you think you did something to your eggs or something. I'm not sure. Yeah, and the next day you go get 6 again. But overall, they're really good sized fish. There was not just off of my boat, but all the other boats out there, there's a lot of fish in that, 18 to 22 pound class range. And, you hook those things on a 962 steelhead rod. It's going to, oh my gosh, there's nothing like it, man. There is absolutely nothing like it. Yes, absolutely. So,
well, there is.
It was fun, but
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. We ran out of water, and we're heading down here, down down the mighty Cowlitz River, the secret Cowlitz River.
The secret Cowlitz River with only two fishing holes on the entire stretch. And you and I were talking earlier, buddy, and let's face it, you said there's nothing like it, but there is something like it, and that would be a 10 to 12 pound summer run steelhead on the Cowlitz on a lightweight rod. You're in for a battle. It's something that many folks look forward to. It's nice to know we got a decent number of fish, not like gangbusters of the mid-'80s, but we do have a decent number of fish in the Cowlitz, and it's definitely worth putting in some time down there. So give us a kind of recap of how it's been going and how you think it's going to fish throughout the month of August.
Yeah, man. It started off pretty good, and if anything, it's gotten better.
Yeah.
If you for the math wizards out there, you look at the Tacoma Power. Numbers, they're getting 500 to 700 fish a week back to the hatchery. And they're also recycling fish down to the I-5 boat ramp. 3 times a week they dump fish in there, and last week they put in an additional 550. Don't quote me 100% on there. It was over 500 fish. So above I-5, we're fishing on over 1,000 fish swimming back a week. Those are quality numbers, and certainly the numbers by the catch of the boats and even the bank fishermen are certainly reflecting that.
Yeah.
So it's good and it's fun, and if anybody that's done it before, man, you hook one of these steelhead, and the first thing it does is come flying 4 feet out of the water and goes absolutely nuts. Oh my gosh, it's so addicting.
So you're down there in your sled this time of year also, as they've dropped the water, and I haven't checked as of late, but typically it's running about 2,500 CFS this time of year, which is very conducive to drift boat and pontoon folks to come down there, and that's why I like it so much, because it's a great day to spend in a drift boat, running either plugs or even divers and coon shrimp. In the sled, are we side drifting, we bobber dogging, and if so, what kind of bait are you dragging? Eggs, coon shrimp, what's getting it done?
Yeah. So, we'll back up. So on Monday, I believe it was Monday, they raised the water because of the warm weather here.
Yeah.
It was a hydroelectric river. So we're up at 5,000 CFS now.
Okay.
So that, from what I understand, and the powers that be, is going to hold up through about Saturday, and they're going to drop it right back down to what you just said, about 2,500.
Okay.
So earlier this week, it shot a mountain of fish back up towards the fish hatchery, and fishing earlier this week was very, very good. Since then, it's went from very, very good to just very good.
Yeah.
So it's good. So 99% of the boats out here now, and the jet sleds anywhere, we're bobber dogging, man. It's flat out freaking works. You just don't lose gear, and you keep your gear in the strike zone for a much longer period of time. Mm-hmm. Guys are, mine always is, this time of year with the clearer water, a pink fire cure Pautzke egg, side drifting that, or bobber dogging that thing down, you can't go wrong. They just annihilate those things. Guys are also using coon shrimp. That seems to be working very, very well, as well. And just cover water, and just beat it up, and you'll come across them. They're there. And, yeah, man, it's fun. And, certainly the guys that want to, flip the boat around and, diver and coon shrimp, or guys even with the plugs, every day they're getting them and getting multiple fish. So that certainly works very, very well as well, hitting the seams, the traveling lanes, and things like that. Like I said earlier, there's 1,000 fish a week coming back. So those are good numbers. So you're having, well over 100 fish, swimming 150 fish, whatever the number is, swim past you virtually every day. So if you're in the right place at the right time, you'll come across fish for sure. And most guys certainly are.
How's the boat traffic overall? Is it getting pretty busy? Is it still a little on the lower end of what it used to be? Or?
No. I question whether people work anymore, man.
Oh, well, currently no.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, there is an aluminum hatch, that's for sure.
Oh. Well, getting some comments on here of folks chiming in as far as back trolling is not allowed in certain areas. So are there certain areas, if I'm going to come down there with my drift boat and on the sticks, slowly moving my way down through a hole, drowning my coon shrimp as I love to do, is it going to piss a few folks off? Or the guys in the sleds who are bobber dogging or dragging going to just go past me and flip me the bird?
Well, so no, it's a free country, man. You can do whatever you want, wherever you want, right?
That's right.
America, there you go. Yeah. You can do whatever you want.
However, if you just, guys, good points. If you just look up and look around for a minute and pay attention to what's going on,
sure,
that you'll learn a lot. If there is, 5, 10, 15 boats working a stretch side drifting, it might not be necessarily the most best idea to hop in there and go back troll. Pop down below them, get it right. Speaking of the bird and things like that, yeah, absolutely. But the cool thing is about the summer steelhead fishing, they're not necessarily just stacked up at the hatchery like winter fish. You have ample opportunity to catch them from Blue Creek, heck, Barrier Dam, all the way down to virtually the mouth of the river. So you can get away from the crowds and find your own traveling lines and find your own ditches and buckets and put those plugs out and work that system. And if you're downriver, a mile or whatever your number is, wherever your spot is, and you're back to on the side drifter, they will come by. They're just going to reel in. They're just going to float past you, and you wave, smile, and they'll cast in below you and go about your day. So it works. It's very conducive for everything. There's plenty of water, and there's plenty of area.
Do you think these fish have a window of whether on the bite, full sun, water typically runs fairly clear this time of year, a little bit of green to it, but typically it's pretty clear. It's cold. That river is always cold. And so we got full sun, 80, mid 80 degree days, full sun on the water at noon, beating down. Do you see them going off the bite? I've had years down there, you get into some of those deeper holes and you're hooking fish all the way through noon, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, certainly the morning is the best bite, from relatively speaking first light until, I'll call it 8 o'clock. If you get a cloud cover, that's going to, that'll extend that a little bit longer. However, case in point, like today, there about 12:30, 1 o'clock, there was a pretty good bite going on. I'd seen 4, 5, 6, 8 fish in a row, caught in a particular stretch of river by a bunch of boats, including ours. So you can catch fish all day long. But by and large, it slows down as the sun gets beaten on the water, but it doesn't mean you reel it up and get out of there. So if you beat it up long enough, the bite will turn back on for sure.
Let's talk a little bit about your bobber dogging setup, spinning rods, length and size of rod, braided line or not, and size of float, amount of weight that we're dragging, and then ultimately what's the length of that leader and size of hooks that you're using if you're dragging bait or a bead or whatever it is you want to put out there.
Yeah, absolutely. So I run 962 side drifting rods. That's a 2-power. What's that? A 4 to 10 pound rods. I run heavier. I run braided line on those things. I'm at 20-pound braid. I'll put on 8 to 10 foot on your slip floats, right? And I run 8-pound leaders. If I'm running eggs, I run double number 4s with a surprisingly enough, I put on a decent sized glob of eggs. These fish are hungry and they'll chew, man. So you don't need to necessarily downsize it at all. Just don't get complacent with running little itty bitty stuff. It's not wintertime, crystal clear wintertime. It's not like that. These fish are aggressive. Yeah. So sometimes a big presentation really, really works well. I run that. Half ounce float. Personally, I like to run stick weights. This float, I'm running about 4 inches of 1/8 inch stick weights and, cast into the seams and hold on, man.
Yeah, 4 ounce stick lead matched with a half ounce float, and it's a pretty good combination. Absolutely.
Yep, absolutely. Yep. The key is, you don't need to run those huge bobbers for the bobber dogging. Just some, half ounce bobbers seem to work really well. 3/8 ounce bobbers work really well. The BowTech ones seem to, they got a pretty good setup. That's why I like to use it. Yeah. They just work, man. And that braided line, it really helps it keep your stuff suspended up off the bottom. And the cool thing about this bobber dogging stuff as opposed to side drifting, we fished 8.5 hours today, and we lost maybe 8 liters. Yeah. You just don't. What years past, you're side drifting,
30.
We're at 40, 50.
Yeah?
Yeah, exactly.
Crazy.
You're just burning through gear.
Right.
So if you're tying gear all day long, you're not fishing correctly. If your gear's in the water, at least you got a chance.
Yeah, good point. And of course, as you mentioned at the start of the segment with Bobber Dog, and your presentation is in the travel lane or in the SEMA where the fish are 95% of the time. You're not off too far, and you're not pendulum in behind the boat as you progress downriver and having to recast constantly. So it works out well for you as a guide and for the novice on the other end of the rod waiting for that bobber to disappear. So
that is correct.
Yes.
And the expert alike.
Yeah, and the expert alike. Fantastic information, buddy. Appreciate it. In the very near future, you're going to probably see me and the bearded one down there on the waters that you are currently beating up day in and day out with the drift boat. And I'll just figure out where it is you're dragging through, and I will actually throw my anchor and just sit right there and wait for you to come by. So
I would look forward to that and encourage that, Dwayne.
I would say, Bobber Dog this, Mr. Daniels. So. All right, buddy.
I don't think that'll be the first time either, buddy.
I know. Always a pleasure. I will see you down there soon, I guarantee it. Have a great evening. We'll talk soon.
Sounds good, guys. Right. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate
you bet.
it.
Take care.
I just always picture, river fishing as a hockey game, right?
Yeah.
Guys run up on each other. They low hole, one guy low holes the other guy.
Yeah, man.
And then the guy throws down his rod.
Contact sports.
Takes off his waders, and then they just go at it. That's like when I think of river fishing, that's what goes through my mind.
Wintertime, you peel off the wool gloves and go after it, right? Take your toque off.
Just put it in the reg book like it's allowed.
Yeah. That's it. You can find plenty of videos on YouTube and whatnot that you got guys throwing down in the river.
I'm sure.
It's very comical.
Sure.
You don't see that out on the salt, but definitely fantastic. All right, the Calatis Fishing. Make sure you get down there, and if not, check out what Todd Daniels has going on. Find him on Facebook, Todd Daniels, and/or Tall Tales Guide Service. He's been around forever. He does a fantastic job. Will treat you to an amazing day, and he's just a funny guy to fish with, man. You have a good time with Todd every time you get out on the water. All right, we'll jump out for a quick break. We come back. First time to the show, our buddy Ryan Black down there at the Sportco Archery Pro Shop. Something you'll hear us talking more and more about, especially as we progress through season here, Tommy, in the next several weeks, getting ready for archery elk and other things, opportunities coming up. Ryan is dialed again, well known throughout the Pacific Northwest and beyond, and we're going to tap into his brain of knowledge as it revolves around getting your bow ready to get out there on the hunting grounds, what you should be doing right now, practicing on the range, doing some 3D shoots, all those things. We'll talk to Ryan Black down there in Sportco when we come back right here on Fish Hunt Northwest.
You took my spot.
What?
I can't hear the commercial, but I can hear you guys.
Hey, welcome back in the studio. Got to take me off mute there, Josh, I think, because I can't hear Ryan. Maybe he's there.
Now.
Hey, there you go. Gotcha.
There we go.
Yeah, welcome back in the studio. For some reason, we had our audio jacked up on that commercial break, so we're sitting here in silence trying to get Tommy not to say something we shouldn't say.
Sounds me, but...
Anyway, okay, we are back live in studio here, Fish on Northwest. Ryan Black, Sportco Archery Pro Shop. First time on the show, buddy, and I appreciate you taking time to jump with us tonight.
Yeah, no problem, guys. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I'm reading up here online. Josh, you better figure it out because everybody just chimed in saying, your mics are on. I can hear you. Yeah, we knew. We could tell something was going on. So we just sat here stone quiet, just tried to get through the commercial break and not blow it. Anyway, yeah. So first off, is the Archery Pro Shop a little busy as of late, Ryan? What's going on down there at Sportco?
Oh my God, it is nuttier than a squirrel turd down here. It is not stopped. I don't know what it has been with this whole, pandemic thing, COVID-19 that we've been having going on, but it's just been nonstop busy for me. Day in and day out. I mean, sometimes I'm busting out of here at 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
We close at 7. So just getting the guys ramped up, strung up, arrows. Also, just trying to get inventory in. I mean, everybody in this industry right now is on a back order or shut down still, so it's very stressful.
Yeah, what are most people coming in? You mentioned arrows and whatnot, and you're cutting arrows, getting them to length, and setting guys up with what they're looking for. And, one thing I'll give you credit to also, I've stood there listening to you talk to customers. They come in and they tell you what they want, and you listen to them, and you say, well, yeah, I hear what you're saying, but you know what? Let me show you this. In other words, you listen to what they're saying. You look at the bow they're matched up with, the poundage they're drawing, their reach and everything, and you're like, no, I want to set you up with this arrow because I think it's going to do them a much better job. Or, put these tips on your arrow, that type of thing. Which, credit to you, you're not just there to make a sale. You're there to make build a relationship with the customer and have them come 100%. Back. Right. So, so what are they coming in for? You tuning bows? Are you restringing? You got new cams, sights? What's kind of the hot item, or is it just all over the map?
Well, the funny thing is, it's actually, I don't know if it's going on in the air, but a lot of people have been, dry firing their bows lately or having a lot of accidents. So that's mainly been the most priority, is getting everybody's parts or bows back up and running. But the main thing, we are getting closer to hunting season as we are getting closer to bear season in August. People are reloading up on their bullets, getting more broadheads, wanting to, finally break out their bows and get them restrung. So that's typically what we're after right now. The sad part is that our mainstream manufacturer is so backed up that I've been, outsourcing people to another manufacturer to get them a lot sooner so I can get them out in the field so they're not sitting with their bows in my shop for the next month in crunch time for hunting season. So that's, kind of what you touch bases on is that whole customer service thing. Is I want to make sure these guys are out there ready to hunt, ready to be out there, have the full confidence with their equipment and not having, to be last minute, at elk camp sighted in their bow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So walk us through, we're talking about, preparation for the archery season, both for deer and we got elk. Now I know a guy like yourself, you're probably shooting maybe more than once a day, and in that one time a day, you're probably sending a lot of arrows, but to be a truly proficient and lethal archery hunter, what regimen for preparation do you really recommend? And I think the answer is probably you never stop shooting, but what do you recommend to folks to be really super confident with their bow?
Definitely get out there and get the time behind the string. I mean, that's the main concern is you want to have confidence in your equipment. So getting out there, shooting it more, seeing what it's doing, breaking those strings in. I mean, a lot of guys will get new strings, they'll shoot it, set it in, and hang it up, and then, come hunting season, they start busting out, dusting off the cobwebs while things have seated and stretched. And then they wonder why they're not hitting where they're at. So getting the time out there, and then also focusing more that when you're sighted in, play with your broadheads. Play with your broadheads, making sure that each and every arrow is shooting a broadhead consistently where you're aiming behind the pen. That way you have that confidence when you go in the field, when you have that animal standing 20 yards in front of you, you can actually make that shot confidently. And then now, of course, with the 3D season kind of being all jacked up with this whole COVID-19 thing with everybody shutting down the shoots, it's definitely a good thing to go out there and practice the hunting shots. Not for score, but just for hunting shots, the harvest shots. Not for the ring, the 10 rings, but if an animal's quartered away, aim like you're going to shoot a real animal to harvest that animal successfully. And that's going to help build that confidence ultimately.
Yeah, I completely agree. And, one thing about if you do take a break, and oftentimes I do simply because I get so busy doing everything else with fishing and whatnot, and then it's time to pick the bow up, good practice will help you improve if you continue to push through when you are declining early on when you pick up the bow again. I don't think that benefits you. Of course, you shoot much more than either of us sitting in this room, but that being said, I'm a strong believer in the fact if I'm going to go out and start shooting my bow, I might just go, shoot maybe 10 times and call it good, because if I push it beyond what my muscle memory, muscle conditioning is at, I notice a steep decline, and I can't get it back on point, and I end up finishing my little stint of shooting on a low note because it's just repetitive bad behavior and bad technique. Whereas as I build up to it, maybe I shoot every day, every other day, and I build that from 5 to 7 to 12 to 15 to 20. Next thing I know, I can send 30 arrows down range, and I'm holding good in tight on my sight, and I'm landing the arrow where I want it to be. Are you an advocate of one that says, it is muscle memory, it is conditioning, and don't try to push it too hard in the first couple of weeks. You need to work your way up to the point of where you can comfortably fire off that many arrows and be accurate in doing so?
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. I mean, if you're out there just slinging arrows, you're going to create bad habits. You start shooting yourself out, you're not going to know what you're doing or what's going on. I mean, it could be your sights, it could be you, it could be, fatigue, it could be whatever it is. So my whole regiment, what I'll do, and typically with a hunting bow, I usually want my hunting bow usually set up, ready to rock and roll, or I know my broadheads are hitting, May and June. That's where I want my bow set, because 9 times out of 10, I really don't have that time, because I'm here with more of the customers, getting them ramped up. So I want to be set and ready to go. And then come August, go out there and just start conditioning more and more. But I'll shoot, 3 arrows at a time. And I'll walk down and I'll grab them. I'll shoot groups of 3. I don't want to shoot my whole quiver. I don't want to shoot a dozen arrows, because you're just going to shoot yourself out over and over again. So, and then you have those good ethical shots. When I start shooting my broadhead, I'll shoot 1 arrow at a time. Whether it's at 40 yards, whether at 60 yards, whatever it may be, I'll shoot 1 arrow with that 1 shot, because when we're out there in the woods, we only have that 1 shot.
Yeah.
So we have to make that count. And if we're out there just flinging arrows or shooting groups of broadheads, we're not really doing ourselves any justice, because we have that 1 shot. That's all we have. So condition myself to making that 1 great shot every single time with that broadhead that I know I'm confident with.
So speaking of conditioning and form, I mean, there is so much that goes into form.
Oh yeah.
and learning how to do it. And I know it's really hard to break it down through
It
words.
is. That's probably another segment.
A whole other segment.
We could talk hours on this, but if you had to pick a couple things, Ryan, that were absolutely critical to shooting your bow and having proper form, what are the first things that you're going to tell somebody they need to pay attention to?
Because we can't normally see what we're doing when we're behind the bow. So what I like to tell people is, if they have somebody, their significant other or a friend or whatever, videotape them and see what they're doing through their whole shot process. And then see if they can kind of dissect what they may or may not be doing, or what could be different. Main form is picture yourself as a T, elbow up, straight forearm there. Biggest concern, and I see it day in and day out, I've seen it today, ultimately with about 5 different customers today, is hand pressure. You may not know you're doing hand pressure on the bow, but you could be having a little bit of pressure, because everybody wants to anticipate the explosion for that bow. So having a nice relaxed hand, letting go of the release, and just utilizing your index finger if you're using a trigger release. Getting the torque off of the bow is definitely key, because in a high tense situation, we're not going to realize that when there's a bull screaming in front of us at 20 yards. We're going to be shaking our pants.
It fires off by testosterone.
Just easy. Settle down. Ryan's trying to talk here.
I'll calm down.
No, you're good. And we're going to punch the daylight out of the trigger. I don't care who you are. But it's practice that. It's going to bring back that muscle memory. So to be, I think, in form, that is the key thing, is making sure you are relaxed in your shot. So then when that time does come, you're not as tense as you're going to be, if you're all pumped up, jacked up. Oh my God, there's a bull in front of me. You're just going to let muscle memory take over. So I think that would be like the main thing in the form aspect of things. But yes, there's a lot more things you can literally dissect in a whole form aspect of your shooting.
You had mentioned when you switch over to broadheads and you really are getting dialed in pre-hunt, and I do the same thing. I fire one broadhead downrange and I go retrieve that arrow, and I kind of try to be very very systematic in my approach and just continue firing that same arrow. That conversation with me and a handful of folks over the years, when you transition from your field points to your broadheads, there's a wide spectrum. You and I have had this conversation in the shop there, Ryan. In some camps, it's, oh yeah, there's a tremendous adjustment that you need to do to your bow when you switch from field points to broadheads. Some of the conversations you and I have had is like, well, it kind of depends on your arrow, your field points, and exactly what broadheads you're transitioning to. You may have very minor adjustment. What's the actual go-to on that? And isn't the biggest takeaway, no matter which broadhead you choose to go with, once you make that transition, start shooting that, it is repetition and practicing and dialing your bow with that broadhead specifically, not rely on your field tip settings.
Yeah, I mean, when you're tuning the bow to a field point weight that's to the front of the arrow, when we add a broadhead to that, it creates a secondary rudder.
Yeah.
So a lot of people expect to think that, oh, if I'm shooting a 100 grain field point, I can shoot a 100 grain broadhead and it's going to hit exactly the same. So there's a lot of variables that goes into broadhead tuning per se. I don't know if we want to get into tuning, but going from transition to there, if my broadheads are not shooting the same as my field points, the only thing that I have changed is the broadhead.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to play with my broadhead first, whether I use an O-ring or a washer, and change the way the pitch of that broadhead is fitting versus my vanes. See if that cleans things up. If it does, great, I'm on the right path. Then if I go down to it, it will all boil down to slight rest adjustments. But typically with a good arrow, a good tune, a great broadhead out there, in a great world, in a perfect world, I should say, your broadhead should hit almost identically the same as your field point.
Yeah.
There's also more tuning aspects that goes into that, and there's other variables when it comes into arrows and spine and dynamic spine and so on and so forth, which we probably don't have enough time to go through that. But
not in this segment, but next time we have you on.
But Ryan, I'm going to come down there and I'm going to hang out with you because I want every aspect.
No, we're going to go shoot. We're actually going to come in shop. We're going to shoot some of the finer points that we're discussing here so we can turn it into a video that people can actually watch and wrap their head around. So,
I mean, I definitely want to do a broadhead tuning video just to show people that there's other things out there that you can do without actually playing with your rest. So a lot of guys move their sights, and a lot of guys move their rest, and then at the end of the season, they're moving back so they can shoot their field points again. It should be that way.
Right, got it. Really good stuff. Barely scratched the surface. We have much more to cover over the coming weeks, and we will do so. And we will definitely, Tommy and I will come down there in the shop, spend some time, get some of this great advice you have on video, and show people exactly what they need to be doing and what they shouldn't be doing as they get prepared for this season. So, fantastic. Glad you finally joined us on the show, Ryan. You will not be a stranger by any means. Might even get you come in studio here at some point. So,
I'm so down, man.
Perfect, brother. All right. Well, have a great evening, and we'll stay in touch for sure.
Sounds good, guys. Have a good weekend.
You bet. Talk to you soon.
Yep. Bye.
All right, Ryan Black.
Got my blood pumping.
I know.
How about you, man?
I go down there and we could talk for hours, and he just takes you through the progression and the things to cover. So, all right, running up against the break here, a little long segment, but sometimes you just can't shut it off when the information is flowing and it's dynamic. Jump out for a quick break. We come back. We're going to finally get back to a recipe of the week. Haven't had that for a number of weeks just based on all the other content we've been throwing at you guys. So stick with us through the short break. Josh, we're going to turn our mics off through the break just to make sure. Hopefully this will all run as it's supposed to. We'll roll in from commercial into the recipe of the week. Folks were saying they couldn't hear the commercial. I'm hoping that is fixed so that you'll be able to enjoy the recipe of the week. If this is the first time you're joining the show, haven't watched the recipe of the week, this is going to be a great recipe for salmon. Coho, I believe, and with all the salmon fishing going on as of late, this is one of those recipes that you'll definitely want to take advantage of with Chef Kelly and Sherry in the kitchen. We come back after this commercial break right here on Fish on Northwest.
Sockeyes waving goodbye. She come out to break the night.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Fish Hunt Northwest. We're here in the kitchen with Chef Kelly, and I believe we have some coho salmon.
Yes, you caught the coho salmon. Okay.
I was going to ask you if you did.
Oh my God. I already know the answer because
Yep.
Yeah, you're like, look how big my coho is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
you saw all the pictures.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a fun trip.
The phone doesn't ring. I get it.
Yeah.
Anyways, so today we're making a signature dish. This is going to be a pan-seared coho. It's going to be over cabbage, apples, potatoes, onions with a apple white wine sauce.
Okay.
Okay. This is not a traditional recipe. Okay, so as you can see back here, I've already kind of pre-started my salmon, and I want to touch on that is that cohos are easy to overcook. Usually they're kind of on the thin, kind of smaller side.
Right.
I chose a tail piece, and so this is a good technique to try to get ahead without overcooking them. So we're just going to finish it up on the other side, and that way we're going to ensure that we're not going to be overcooking our fish.
Okay.
Okay, because overcooked salmon is garbage, right? So we're going to start sauteing our sauce first.
Okay.
So we're going to use, this is a whole apple. This is a Fuji apple, one of my favorites, but there's a lot of great apples out there nowadays.
So you just diced it?
Yeah, just small dice. So we're going to use half of it here and the other half here.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay, and we're going to use two different types of onions. For the saute, we're going to do yellow onion. That's about half a cup. Small dice. Another half a cup of red onion. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, and I pre-cooked my potato ahead of time.
Yukon Gold?
Yukon Gold. This is about 2, peeled of course. Okay. So we're going to season both of these. Boom, boom. Kosher salt always. A little bit of black pepper.
Give you an arm workout?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, for our sauce, we're going to be using apple butter. You know, and that, and apple butter, I don't know if you can see this. It's kind of like a caramelized applesauce, right? It's kind of reduced. It's very thick.
Yeah, quite a bit thicker than applesauce.
Take a little taste.
Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah.
Right? So if you couldn't get your holds on this, I would caramelize a little bit of sugar, add some applesauce. You're good to go. You're right there.
So you can use your kids' applesauce?
Yes, you can raise your kids' applesauce.
Just make it a little bit sweeter. That's really good.
Right?
And you can find that just in the regular grocery store?
Yeah, I found that in the, I found this actually in the jelly aisle.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so there you go.
The aisle you were in forever?
You know,
I'm like, where did Kelly go?
I sense all this judgment, you know?
And you're always leaving the cart behind. I'm like, where's our cart?
We'll put the GPS on it next time, okay? Okay, so we added our potatoes, getting them crispy. That's getting nice and translucent. Okay. So we're going to add about 3/4 of a cup of white wine.
You poured that away from you.
Yeah, make sure
you were kind of close to your body that time.
That's okay. That's okay. As long as it didn't get the beard, you know, we're good.
Oh boy, okay.
Yeah. You know?
Yeah. You know all about those beards.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So we're almost there. Okay. So we're going to add a little bit of, actually we're going to add our cabbage. So this is just regular
shredded cabbage.
And it's gonna wilt down a lot. So that's about 1.5 cups.
Okay.
Right there. Okay. Talk to me about that Puget Sound coho. Huh?
Well, it was in the Everett Derby.
Everett Derby?
Yeah, and I caught the biggest one in the boat.
In the boat? Wow.
Yes. You saw the pictures. It
I
was
saw
this big.
Well, I thought you were like, Bill dancing in it out here.
No, I wasn't. No.
Okay.
Then Dwayne had to hold mine at one point. I'm like, give me my fish. It was fun.
It was fun?
Very fun time.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good couples therapy.
Yeah, exactly. We worked through everything out there on that boat.
All right. So we're almost reduced down here. We're getting there.
All right.
All right, so let's clear off this right here. Okay, we're going to add just a little bit of chopped garlic here in the finish.
Or do you want that cabbage?
No,
Sorry.
I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a lot of garlic.
Garlic's good for you. Come on.
At least in that. Yeah.
Okay, looking a little dry, so we're going to add just a little touch more oil.
Okay.
Okay, our wine is reduced now, so now we're going to add our...
Oh.
Give me that.
I think you just gave that to me.
So, we're going to add 2 tablespoons of the apple butter. Okay, now you can take it back, okay?
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's switch our utensils out.
Okay.
Okay, that's going to have some residual heat, and we're already plating,
That looks great.
right? So we're
Already
just gonna,
plating?
Yeah, already plating.
Wow.
Okay, I'm adding about a tablespoon of butter, just to give a little bit of richness.
Okay.
Okay. You can see our fish is already getting warm on that
Smells awesome.
side. Okay. Okay, and we're just going to let that residual heat take that over the top.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So you see how the butter has given a little creaminess to it. Okay, we're just
Soften the potatoes a little bit.
Yeah. It smells good.
Yes, it does.
Lots of garlic. There we go. Looking good. Take our nice, beautiful coho.
Wow. Don't
Jeez.
glare at me like that,
I
mister.
didn't glare. It wasn't a glare, okay?
Jealousy.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. And then just a little bit of chives.
Chives.
And yeah, I would serve this in any one of my restaurants.
Delish.
There you go.
No, I can hear you now.
Fancy
Jeez,
coho,
good
guys,
to go.
with the apple white wine sauce with cabbage, onions, and potatoes.
That is awesome. And we're going to dig in. But as we do that, we're going to throw it back to you guys in the studio.
Awesome.
Yep.
All right, we are back here in studio. You know what? It's when I turn my mic on. I think there's some. You got something going on over there, Josh Mannon. Better figure it out, son. So anyway, Tommy, that is coho over potatoes and cabbage with an apple wine white sauce.
Yeah,
white wine sauce.
That's phenomenal. You got me a little excited there when you were worried about the audio and you were saying you were going to have to come back and we would get to talk about
more tuna,
the top 5 tuna lures.
Yeah.
And then you said, "Oh no, everything's working fine," and my heart sank. But
yeah, I apologize
I'll
for
get over it.
misleading you.
Maybe next week.
There's a couple things next week. We're going to talk about the top 5 tuna lures next week. We're also going to break it down in the bait lab and the how-to segment on coon shrimp, how to rig coon shrimp, how to fish them under a float, how to fish them on a bait diver, all that, going for summer steelhead, because we still have plenty of time to go after summer steelhead. We still have plenty of time to go after salmon and tuna. So we got a lot of things to cover, but those are already a couple great topics for next week folks can look forward to. Before we get to there, I want you all to stick through the 1 minute short break that we got coming up. We're going to come back and play part 2 of our Henry's Fork adventure, and these are some really nice fish that we grab on this second part of this video. Some nice big browns, some nice big bows. Jared chimes in with some savvy knowledge. The guy is a phenom when it comes to understanding everything to do with that Henry's Fork and that fly fishing opportunity. We had a fantastic day. Hopefully you were here earlier on the show. You saw part 1. If not, you can go back and watch it later. But we're going to jump out for a quick break, 1 minute or so. We will be back and introduce you to part 2, Henry's Fork, fishing with Jared Cady, when we come back right here on Fish Hunt Northwest.
And go put the fly where you think that 3 feet of where he should be. A little longer line. Put that on your finger. Yeah. Pick it up. No, that wasn't wind. There you go. And mend it. And then drop slack. Yep, keep doing that. Yep. Now, see how the fly's skating? Straight back in, do it again. That was a good practice because we're going to find a head down here. Yeah. And you need to do it. Remember, you still got the dropper. Tap the branches. Stop straight. One more time. Good. Big net.
Love this water.
So did he sink it or did he crush it?
He crushed it. He exploded the water.
Keep it down.
And freaking crushed it.
Nice. There's all those birds that right off the branch. You're good. Yep. Let him go. Keep going. Let him go. He woke up. Big fish. We're gonna try to bring him around the other side of the boat. We want to plant him on the shallow side.
That just shows you how many fish are stacked along that shore.
Looking for gold. Like
Jordan hit 2.
Yeah.
And I hit 3 when we went 100 yards.
He's in the water. You got something pushing on him, coming towards you. Is that a brown or a rainbow?
That's a big rainbow.
A giant rainbow?
Big rainbow.
Okay, lift straight up, nice and slow. There we go, that's a 20-inch rainbow.
Buddy.
Nice.
That's a...
Take that for me.
Dude.
We want to blow him more bank.
Oh, yeah.
Nice, man.
He exploded that water.
That's pretty cool, right?
That's real cool. I know that last one before this fish was definitely a brown. When it came up and broke, it was all golden. Saw the big spots. Just barely missed him. He didn't like.
He probably just went.
This guy
committed.
This guy was hammer time.
You got a big old scar on her?
Yeah.
So the next one is definitely another one of those. Big men.
See that?
Big men. No, I didn't see it, but.
No, I just mean that structure.
Oh, yes, perfect.
Right there.
Little men, dump some slack. Yep, good. There you go. Wiggle, bend it, bend it, bend it. Good. Be ready right here. Soft men, little one. Sorry, that's you. Yes. That's nice. Yes. Yes. Strip on it. Good. Good. Yeah, that was awesome.
That was like textbook.
Let him go. Yeah, it's a big fish, big brown too.
Big brown.
Right off the wall. Watch that rock. Yep. Hold on the rock. Very nice. Yep. Yep. Then it goes so you get turned back towards. Where's he at? Good. Good. Not ready yet. Don't go that close to him. Okay. Around again. Oh, good. Okay, bring the wrong side of the boat. This side. 3, 2, lift, real slow. Lift, easy, easy. Yep. Okay. Yep. Bring around the right side. Yeah, just don't put too much pressure on when he goes away like that. I can see him on the right, so just try to land him over here on this right. Alright. Low, low. Right by my paddle. Just past my paddle, keep coming. 3, 2, 1, and lift. Slowly lift. Lift, lift. Around. Good. Slowly lift. Try to get that head up. Down, around. Get the head up when you can.
Oh,
out, out.
There. Come on, buddy.
Good. And bring him over to the right. Don't need to get tighter to him. Okay. Yep. Around my paddle. Yep. Here we go. I'll go to you. Lift him. Lift. Nice and easy. Come on, baby. Easy. Come on to him. Yep. Need that. But right here. Yeah, exactly. Right to my hand. Come on. Straight up. You just got it.
There you go. Oh.
Just using his weight.
Yes, he is. Very efficient.
Down and right. I'm going to go to the softer water. Easy. Easy you can.
Good.
Keep that nose up.
There you go. Oh, there you go.
Woo! It's a 21-inch brown. How's your arm?
Exhausted.
Stressful.
Man. Holy cow.
We're going to the bank.
Floating on that?
Yeah. That was, you can feel the weight too.
Yep. Oh, and I can see it. So easy.
Set.
Holy smokes, this is a strong. Oh, man.
When you're smaller, you're at like 10 pound right now.
Yeah.
And you guys are like 4.
No, it sounds good. I just can't crack them off again.
Yeah. There, yep. Set, that's you. Nice. Big rainbow. Nice. Dry. Single dry.
Single dry.
I think that one's a rainbow.
It might
see. That other one we saw pop in the water is definitely a brown. You can see how big and bold he was. Oh, there you go. That's all right. Barbara. All right, guys. Hey, we are winding down our day FHN on the road, on the water segment we brought to you today with us out there on the water all day with Jared. Jared, can't thank you enough. But we're also standing here with Jonathan Heems, one of the owners of Big Sky Anglers, and of course the Golden Stone Inn, which we happen to be standing in front of right now. Jonathan, great to meet you.
You too, man. Yeah,
appreciate you taking a little time to talk about your operation here. So Jared and I have known each other for a long time, so it's easy for me to call him up and say, hey man, you know, let's connect and go out and fishing. But for somebody, you know, up there Washington State, Oregon, you get people from all over the country. They call it the Fly Shop, want to book a trip for a couple anglers, husband and wife, a couple buddies want to come fishing for a couple days. Then you have accommodations here at the lodge. Just talk a little bit about what they can expect to find at the Fly Shop, and then kind of the accommodations you have here at the lodge.
Yeah. We're a full-service fly shop based out of West Yellowstone. That's a pretty purposeful location. We, in the world of fly fishing, consider West Yellowstone to be like the geographic epicenter of so many things that are great. It's, from here, 100 miles in any direction just puts you in so much good stuff.
The amount of fish, the population of fish in these rivers per mile is a mind blower.
And it's beyond just population, the diversity of water types that you have, the hatches that we get here really cover the entire spectrum.
Yeah.
We are all anglers that fish all over the world.
Right.
We love everything that we are able to chase with a fly, but this is what we call home, and we do that for a very particular reason. It's
when I walk into the fly shop, what can I expect to find in there?
Hopefully smiling faces.
Yeah, there
people
was
that are willing to help you with anything you need in there.
A lot of gear in there.
A lot of gear.
If I show up to town without something, I can probably find it there.
We've got everything you need. We can rent you what you need if you didn't, if you don't want to buy it. We've got stuff. We do. You bet.
Rods, reels.
Yep.
Gear, the whole deal.
Yep.
Gotcha.
We've got great selection of flies for this area, and I'd like to say that we take good pride in customer service. We'd like to take care of people of any skill level, any walk of life in the fishing world.
So anybody that shows up here with little to no experience, your guides, take them, spend a little time, teach them. Jared walked us through the progression today, got us going on a roll cast, and then overhand, and just got us working the water, and then to put two persons in the boat who have not fly fished together before and figure out how to cast in unison so we're not getting all tied up all day. I mean, again, we've been friends a long time, but for that novice that would show up here, again, husband and wife or a couple buddies that want to fish, and if they're a little apprehensive just because they know nothing about it, they don't need to fear that. Sounds like they can walk into the shop, they can call up, book that trip, you're gonna get here, hands-on approach, time out on the water, you're gonna learn a ton. I say don't just book one day if you're just going to try this out. You should spend a couple days here to really fine-tune those skills and give yourself some opportunity to catch some of these big fish, because they are absolutely gorgeous.
We kind of look at this area as there's enough water type around here where you can take someone who's an absolute beginner and start them. And I'm still fishing with some of those people I started 20 years ago today. And we have enough water to take them through all the progressions and different little scenarios that you may encounter, and different love affairs with different kinds of fishing. We do focus on fly fishing. We don't deal with bait fishing or spin fishing, and this us in particular. But fly fishing makes sense here. It's not. I wouldn't call that any kind of elitist sort of attitude. It's just when you come here, if you show up with other kinds of tackle, you'll quickly learn that fly fishing is the way to catch these fish. It's the most productive way.
Way too much to do here and never enough time, and I can't thank you guys enough. It's been fantastic.
Thanks for coming, you guys.
Absolutely. All right,
nice
appreciate
to meet you
it.
guys.
All right, that's going to do it for us. Going to wrap up here and get on the road and head for home. And before we get there, we'll jump over for a quick commercial break, and we'll be back in the studio right after this.
Well, there we go. Kind of going to wrap it up here, Tommy. That was part two. And those fish, I'm telling you, you talk trout fishing, but big bows, big browns, light gear.
Well, and the number of fish that you have in that river is unbelievable.
I probably missed more that day than I hooked. And that's just, lack of experience and just something I don't do all the time, but did relatively well. You don't have to cast far, which makes it convenient. But just definitely kind of a destination place to go. Take the spouse, significant other, take the kids, family trip, book through Big Sky Anglers. Just you can book a couple boats, do corporate trip, whatever. I mean, they have the accommodations, they got the knowledge. Phenomenal opportunity to get out there and do something different that we don't get a lot of opportunity here in the Northwest unless you go to those specific places where we do have that. But great, all in all, great road trip, and we had a heck of a lot of fun. I'm glad I finally able to bring that to you. And thanks to Jared Cady, whom will be back in studio here at some point as we roll into our fall salmon fisheries and jig fishing and all those types of things with him. So, all right, that is going to about do it for us for another week on our live show here at Fish Hunt Northwest. Be sure to check us out online via our Facebook page, Instagram, YouTube channel. Go there and subscribe so you never miss any of our updated current content that we put out in video form and a lot of how-tos and whatnot going on. We're going to work very hard throughout the week to bring you relevant information week in and week out, which starts tomorrow. We don't get a day off, so start seeking out that info for next week. Have a great week, everybody. Into the weekend. Get out and get some fishing done. Post your pictures and send us some of your video clips. Want to see those pictures of kids having success. Also going to launch a couple contests online this week on our Facebook page. We got some fishing rods to give away from Lamaglass. We got a whole host of products to give away from Yakima Bay, and we had Big Jared in here last week. So look this week to our Facebook page and Instagram for those announcements on those giveaways of gear and rods. You must have liked or follow our Facebook page to qualify. More on that coming in a few days. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the sun. Wear your sunscreen and knock 'em dead.